Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the special meeting of September 18th of the Glendale City Council. May we have the roll call, please?
Council members Raymond.
Here.
Quintero. Weaver.
Here.
Yusefian. Mayor Najarian.
Thank you. We are here today, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to continue our discussion on the capital improvement projects and to attempt to get an understanding of where council is in their priorities for the numerous projects that we've spent the last 4 to 5 weeks going through. Unfortunately, as you can tell, we are absent 2 council members. I'm going to open this up for discussion, but it's my I guess it's my opinion that to have a legitimate discussion of these issues and get an understanding as to where council is in terms of prioritization, we really need to have all councilmen participating. And I understand that the councilmen who are not here are absent not because they choose not to participate, but because they are either ill or have other appointments that cannot be moved. So what do you gentlemen think about it?
I don't want to even begin discussion because we will simply repeat it when the other 2 are here. So I'm not for it at all. And if I don't get my way, I'm going to walk out the door and then you won't have a quorum. I've seen that one pulled before.
You're holding a gun to our heads, Mr. Weaver.
Well, that's one way of putting it. All 5 of us should be here. This is very important. We're talking multi-million dollars here. And the 5 aren't weighing in because ultimately at least 3 of us will have to agree on anything that we do decide on is to move ahead with. 3 can't make this decision.
Mr. Draymond, how do you feel about this?
Well, I will defer to Mr. Weaver's experience here with having to repeat. I think we could discuss some of these issues and maybe move this train at least a few yards down the track, but I am also willing to wait for colleagues. Obviously, if they are sick or otherwise engaged, we can't help that. So, yeah, I think it's your call, Mr. Mayor. That's why you get the big bucks. So.
And my thoughts are, no matter what we, 3 of us, decide or comment on, we cannot foreclose the other 2 councilmen from requesting that those particular issues or projects be reopened and reinstitute another discussion, as Mr. Weaver insinuated, wherein we would be repeating our positions and our points. And I'm not very happy about this, but these things happen. We have a chambers full of staff. We have a member of the public here. We certainly took times out of our day to make the presence, but sometimes it happens. I do have a card from Herbert Milano.
I'm leaving. I'm not taking public testimony or anything. You're postponing, fine. You don't want to postpone, I'm walking out the door and that'll take care of it.
Mr. Draymond.
Well, before you even deal with that, may I just ask my colleagues if, as we postpone this, we end up with, what is the magic number there? Are we going to hold for a date when we have absolutely all 5 of our council members here?
I think it should be at least 4 because anything we do is going to take 3 votes to do it.
I would certainly settle for 4 no matter who the other council member is. I just don't want to hold the city and the public
hostage. Should be at least 4.
Indefinitely.
Both of our missing colleagues do have strong views on certain things, so they should be represented here.
No, I would agree. I would feel very comfortable going forward with 4, and should one councilman not be able to make it, I think they would have to understand that we're obligated to go forward and do the business of the city.
You can have vacations, you can have illness, family matters. There's a lot of things that can take 1 out, but 4 should be reasonable.
So, Mr. Weaver, just to give you I would request for a motion to adjourn. However, in light of this the member of the public who took time out of his day to appear, I would...
Ahead. Told you. I'm not listening to anybody or
But
anything.
thank you. That's entirely your decision. Mr. Howard, we've lost a quorum, so de facto, the meeting is adjourned?
Well, technically, you've lost a quorum, so you cannot conduct quote-unquote official business. That doesn't preclude you, no different than it would be if you were in your office, from hearing from a member of the public now on an informal basis. You could certainly hear from a member of the public now. Again, it wouldn't be a record testimony of an official meeting because we've lost our quorum, but you can certainly hear from a member of the public or from staff, more along the lines of if you were to hear from staff in an office conversation.
So would we have to adjourn the meeting and then just remain on the dais, or?
Essentially, the meeting is adjourned without the quorum.
Okay, so we can't conduct any official business?
No official business. But you can still remain on the dais. My suggestion has been in the past
Absolutely.
My suggestion has been in the past that when you do lose a quorum and it's permanent, as it appears to be here, that you indicate that for the television audience so they don't turn on their TV and believe that there's an actual official meeting occurring, and that we reflect that publicly, that there is no longer an official meeting, and that you will be taking at least the testimony
Okay.
from a member of the public.
Okay, therefore, for anyone watching and for the record, due to our loss of a quorum, the official capacity of the Glendale City Council has been terminated. We are, however, Councilman Draymond and myself are willing to remain to hear comments from the audience, and that will be Herbert Milano, and we'll give you 5 minutes, if you so choose to address two of us.
My name is Herbert Milano, Mayor Najarian. I thank you very much for the courtesy of allowing me to speak and the public to hear a few comments with regard to this process. I guess the thing that strikes me the most about losing the quorum and not having these issues presented when there are 3 councilmen present is that is the objective of a quorum. Having 3 individuals continue the business of the city. Otherwise, why even have it in the charter? If Mr. Weaver chose to basically break the quorum because he doesn't want to hear certain topics, it leaves it open to basically a question that may just be the reason. But are not minutes taken of these issues, and is not the information available on the web, and is not the information available on the internet, so that any councilman who is not currently present can certainly be apprised of the issues and still bring up their concerns at a future planning meeting and with some relevant information that was presented to you or that was discussed. So I see no reason for Mr. Weaver's actions to have basically taken leave of the dais and leave us with no substantive opportunities to discuss what I think are incredibly important issues with regard to the capital improvements. My issue, in a way, are highly personal, and I can tell you the issue having to do with youth. Mr. Najarian, in my apartment building, which is not far from here, we have some children in the building. There's one child that is in the 4th grade who plays what I would call, in a simulated, fictional basketball court, which is in the front setback of the building. We have no green areas except the front setback, and there is an entryway that goes into the subterranean parking, and he imagines that there's a hoop at the entrance, and he plays basketball there. His grandmother is available at all times, but there are no parks for these children to go to or to walk to. She would have to take several buses to get to the nearest park, where this child can actually effectively basically play basketball, unless they go to the local elementary school and walk there and make use of the facilities. But I would assume that any time you're about to make a decision, you take substantive data that was prepared by or for the city in prior years and say, here's the data that supports our decision or our inclination to go in a certain direction. And the data that I continue to go back on is this master environmental impact report. So that if you are going to make a decision, you need to have the data in front of you with regard to shortages. And I think that assists in letting other members of the community and staff know that as you approach to address the deficiency in parks or in facilities needed for parks, that they are also aware of a sector of this city economy that has, in a way, been deficient for so very long. When I looked at these numbers that appear here, we have 0.03 acres of parkland per 1,000 residents. Some people will have to take a look and say, look, I want luxurious accommodations for our department, or we're going to provide this to the community. And it allows you to gauge and weigh all of these tremendous issues of having to make a political decision where some individuals, in a way, would not get what they want. We have opportunities with regard to education or economic vitality on diversity. But I believe that your decisions could be made a little bit more justifiable to the public as a whole if you bring relevant information concerning the social state of the city today and start addressing those issues that have been so deficient for so long. Mr. Najarian, I hope that you still remember many of your classes that you took when you went to get your economics major. That there are relevant measures that we could use, and we have to ask ourselves, are these relevant to the decisions that we're making? Are these demographics sufficiently important for us to make a decision based upon those? And that's what I'm requesting, that you move towards discussing these issues based upon all of the substantial data that the city has collected in the past few years. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have no other cards. Closing remarks, Mr. Trainer.
Yes, here are my closing remarks. Goodbye.
We can't adjourn. We're already
The clerk will
gone.
just declare the matter adjourned.
Adjourn. Thank you.